Part 1: The Fall of Meaning, Jesus and the Crisis of Modern Society. The modern world, despite its technological marvels and material abundance, is facing an unprecedented crisis: the loss of meaning. Depression and anxiety have become endemic, families are disintegrating, and people feel increasingly disconnected from themselves and each other. Society, in its pursuit of progress, has abandoned the very foundations that once gave life purpose. But this crisis is not new. It is the same crisis that Jesus confronted in his time, and his wisdom remains more relevant than ever. 1. The worship of false gods, materialism, and the empty pursuit of success. Jesus once said, "What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul?" Mark 8:36. This question strikes at the heart of modern society. We are told that success is measured by wealth, status, and external validation. We are bombarded with images of luxurious lifestyles, told that happiness lies in more possessions, higher social standing, and professional achievements. Yet, despite these promises, people feel emptier than ever. Consider the case of Howard Hughes, once one of the wealthiest men in the world. He had everything: money, fame, power. But in his final years, he lived in paranoia and isolation, consumed by his own demons. His life stands as a warning: material wealth does not fill the void of the soul. Jesus' message was clear: true fulfillment does not come from external success, but from internal transformation. This does not mean rejecting ambition, but rather ensuring that ambition serves a higher purpose. If one pursues success for the sake of ego, it becomes an idol. But if success is pursued as a means to serve others and contribute to the world, it becomes meaningful. 2. The rise of individualism and the death of community. In an age where self-reliance is glorified, we have forgotten that human beings are meant to exist in community. Jesus did not live in isolation. He built a close circle of disciples, teaching them the power of love and shared purpose. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. John 13:34. Modern society, however, promotes radical individualism. People are encouraged to prioritize personal desires above all else, even at the expense of relationships. The results are clear. Families break apart, loneliness is at an all-time high, and mental health is deteriorating. History offers us a counterexample in the form of the monastic communities of the Middle Ages. At a time of social collapse, these communities preserved knowledge, supported the poor, and provided a refuge of stability and faith. They understood what modern society has forgotten: that true strength is found not in isolation, but in unity. The rejection of truth and the rise of moral relativism. In today's world, truth has become subjective. People say, "Live your truth," as if truth were a personal possession rather than an objective reality. But Jesus did not speak in uncertainties. He declared, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." John 14, verse 6. His message was not a collection of personal opinions. It was a call to recognize an absolute moral foundation. The rejection of objective truth has led to chaos. If each person is free to redefine right and wrong based on their feelings, then morality becomes meaningless. This has resulted in a society where commitment is rare, where promises are easily broken, and where values shift with cultural trends. One historical figure who understood the necessity of moral conviction was Winston Churchill. During World War II, when many sought appeasement, Churchill stood firm against Nazi tyranny, refusing to compromise with evil. His leadership was not based on what was convenient, but on what was right. This is what modern individuals must learn: that standing for truth is difficult, but necessary. Top 4. The search for meaning in a world without God. At the heart of modern despair is a fundamental problem. People no longer know why they exist. Without a higher purpose, life becomes a meaningless cycle of consumption, entertainment, and distraction. The 20th century philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche foresaw this crisis. He declared that God is dead, not as a celebration, but as a warning. He understood that without belief in a higher purpose, society would descend into nihilism. And he was right. Suicide rates have risen, addiction is rampant, and young people are increasingly lost. But Jesus provided an alternative. His life was a testament to a higher calling, a purpose beyond personal pleasure. He taught that true fulfillment comes from serving something greater than oneself, whether it be God, a cause, or the betterment of humanity. Top 5. The path forward: reclaiming meaning through faith and action. The modern world is not beyond saving, but it requires a radical shift in perspective. Jesus' teachings offer a clear solution. Reevaluate success, shift the focus from external achievements to inner character and virtue. Rebuild community, prioritize relationships over self-centered ambition. Seek objective truth, reject moral relativism, and stand firm in timeless values. Embrace a higher purpose. Live not for temporary pleasure, but for lasting meaning. History has shown that societies collapse when they lose their moral foundation. But history has also shown that revival is possible. The Roman Empire was in decay when Christianity emerged, offering a new vision of life rooted in faith and love. Today, we stand at a similar crossroads. The choice is ours. As Jesus said, "Come, follow me." Matthew 4:19. This is not just an invitation to belief, but an invitation to transformation. The question is, will we accept it? Part 2, The Crisis of the Modern Soul, Lessons from Jesus. Modern society is more advanced than ever, yet it suffers from an invisible crisis, a spiritual emptiness that technology, material wealth, and social progress cannot fill. Depression, anxiety, and the loss of meaning have become widespread. Despite unprecedented access to comfort and convenience, people feel more disconnected than ever. What went wrong? To understand this, we must look at the wisdom of Jesus, not only as a religious figure, but as a revolutionary thinker who addressed the most profound human dilemmas. His teachings offer a lens through which we can examine the modern condition and find a path toward transformation. 1. The illusion of control and the fear of the unknown. One of the great ironies of our time is that while humans have gained control over nature through science and technology, they have lost control over their own inner lives. Jesus frequently warned against the dangers of excessive attachment to material security. In Matthew 6:25, he said, "Do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes?" This teaching is particularly relevant today. Modern individuals often believe that controlling external factors, wealth, career, relationships, will bring them peace. Yet studies show that the wealthiest nations also have the highest rates of mental illness. Why? Because external control does not eliminate internal chaos. The more we seek certainty in material things, the more fragile our sense of self becomes. Consider Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he described how those who survived the concentration camps were not the strongest, but those who found meaning beyond their suffering. His philosophy aligns with Jesus' teaching that true security does not come from what we possess, but from the strength of our inner world. 2. The worship of the self and the decline of humility. In today's society, self-centeredness is often disguised as empowerment. People are told, "You are enough. Follow your desires. Seek your truth." While self-acceptance is valuable, it has been twisted into a culture of narcissism. Social media platforms fuel this mindset by rewarding self-promotion and instant gratification. But Jesus presented a different model. "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me." Matthew 16:24. Denying oneself does not mean self-hatred. It means transcending the ego to pursue a higher calling. It means recognizing that we are not the center of the universe. Socrates, one of history's greatest philosophers, also emphasized this idea, stating, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." This humility allows us to grow, but modern culture discourages it. The consequences are evident. When people believe they are entitled to happiness without effort, they become fragile. When they reject the idea of sacrifice, they lose resilience. Jesus understood that true fulfillment requires discipline and self-mastery, concepts that modern society increasingly dismisses. 3. The loss of community and the rise of isolation. Modern culture promotes radical individualism, but the result has been widespread loneliness. Despite global connectivity, genuine human connection is in decline. Jesus emphasized community as essential to human flourishing. In John 13:34, he commanded, "Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another." Historically, the strongest societies were built on shared values and deep social bonds. The early Christian communities were revolutionary in their time because they lived by this principle, supporting one another without regard for status or wealth. In contrast, modern society encourages transactional relationships, where people connect only when there is personal benefit. Nelson Mandela understood this well. After spending 27 years in prison, he emerged not with hatred, but with a vision of unity. His leadership in post-apartheid South Africa was driven by the belief that it is in the character of growth that we should learn from both pleasant and unpleasant experiences. This aligns with Jesus' teachings. Real transformation happens in relationships through both love and suffering. 4. The crisis of truth in a world of relativism. One of the defining features of our age is moral and philosophical relativism, the belief that truth is subjective. Jesus, however, was unequivocal. I am the way, the truth, and the life. John 14, verse 6. He did not claim to offer one truth among many, but the truth. In contrast, modern society is reluctant to affirm absolute truths. This has led to confusion, where individuals struggle to distinguish between good and evil, right and wrong. Without a foundation of truth, people drift aimlessly, susceptible to manipulation by political ideologies, media narratives, and cultural trends. Galileo Galilei faced this issue in a different form. His assertion that the Earth revolved around the sun was condemned by the authorities of his time. Yet, truth prevailed. Today, the challenge is different. Not a suppression of scientific fact, but the erosion of moral and existential certainty. Jesus' radical call to truth remains a necessary challenge in a world where many prefer comfortable illusions over difficult realities. 5. The paradox of freedom and submission. Modern people equate freedom with unlimited choice, but Jesus taught a paradox. Whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Matthew 10:39. This means that true freedom is not doing whatever we want. It is aligning our lives with a higher purpose. Consider Martin Luther King Jr. He could have pursued personal success, yet he dedicated himself to justice, knowing it would bring suffering. His submission to a greater cause made him truly free, just as Jesus' submission to God led to the ultimate victory over death. The same principle applies to personal development. The most successful individuals do not chase fleeting pleasure. They discipline themselves toward a higher goal. The athlete submits to training. The artist submits to practice. The leader submits to responsibility. It is in submission to a noble cause that we find the deepest form of freedom. The modern soul is in crisis, but the wisdom of Jesus provides a way forward. The cure is not found in more wealth, power, or entertainment, but in letting go of the illusion of control and embracing a deeper meaning, cultivating humility and resisting the culture of self-worship, restoring genuine human connection and rejecting radical individualism, reaffirming truth in a world that promotes relativism, finding freedom not in unlimited choices, but in purposeful living. Jesus' life was not one of comfort, but of radical love, truth, and sacrifice. His message was not meant for the past alone. It is a guide for our time. The choice remains: will we continue down the path of self-destruction, or will we reclaim the values that lead to a life of meaning and transformation? Part 3. The path for modern society, becoming the light in a dark age. We have discussed the spiritual ailments of the modern world and the principles Jesus taught to help individuals rediscover themselves. But knowledge alone is not enough if it is not put into practice. The most crucial question remains: how can each individual truly walk this path, not only to develop themselves, but also to transform society? Jesus once said, "You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden." Matthew 5:14. This means that each person is not only responsible for their own salvation, but also has a mission to bring light to the world. Change does not begin with governments or large organizations. It starts with individuals. Only when individuals change does society change. 1. Living by truth, restoring core values. The modern world is filled with falsehoods, from the deceptive promises of consumerism to the misleading images of success promoted by the media. If we wish to bring about change, we must start with truth. Jesus taught, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." John 8:32. This means each person must have the courage to confront reality, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. In personal life, this means ceasing to chase things that do not hold real value. You do not need external validation to have worth. You do not need wealth to find meaning. What you need is an authentic life, one built on enduring values rather than fleeting illusions. A powerful example is the life of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German pastor who stood against the Nazi regime, knowing that it could cost him his life. He refused to compromise with lies, and his unwavering stance became a symbol of courage. His story reminds us that it is better to live by the truth and suffer than to live in falsehood and lose one's soul. 2. Rebuilding community, forming genuine connections. One of the greatest problems of the modern world is isolation. We have thousands of online friends, but no one to truly confide in. Modern society has dismantled traditional communities and replaced them with shallow relationships. But Jesus showed a different way, living in love and authentic connection. In the book of Acts, Jesus' disciples formed a community where people shared with one another and helped each other without expecting anything in return. They did not live in radical individualism, but rather in the spirit of one body, many parts. 1 Corinthians 12:12. This is precisely what today's society needs, a restoration of sincere relationships. This does not mean abandoning modern life to live in closed-off communes. It means investing time in building genuine relationships rather than superficial digital connections. Spend time with family, with friends, with those around you. Help others without expecting anything in return, because these are the things that bring true meaning to life. 3. Focusing on mission rather than chasing empty success. One of the reasons people feel lost is that they lack a true purpose. They chase money, fame, and power, but once they attain these things, they still feel empty. Jesus never said that life is about accumulating wealth. Instead, he taught, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you." Matthew 6, verse 33. This means that each person must discover their true mission. Ask yourself, what are you living for? What gives your life meaning? Are you using your talents to serve something greater than yourself? History has shown that those who live for a noble cause leave the deepest impact. Mother Teresa dedicated her life to serving the poor. Martin Luther King Jr. sacrificed for justice. But you do not need to be a historical figure to live by this principle. Find a goal greater than yourself and dedicate yourself to it. 4. Facing challenges with faith, the power of hope. The modern world is filled with crises, from climate change to political instability, from economic decline to social conflict. Many people feel hopeless, losing faith in the future. But Jesus said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." John 16:33. History shows that dark times are always an opportunity for light to shine brighter. When Rome collapsed, Christian believers preserved their values, laying the foundation for European civilization. When World War II ravaged the world, leaders like Winston Churchill remained steadfast, and their perseverance changed history. This means, no matter how chaotic the world becomes, hold on to faith. Do not let fear control you. Remember that trials do not exist to break you, but to make you stronger. Just as steel must endure fire to become a sharpened blade, people must endure hardship to achieve true maturity. Conclusion: be the light in the world. Jesus never promised that his path would be easy, but he did promise that those who walk it will find truth, peace, and the true meaning of life. Modern society is lost because it has abandoned its core values. But change does not come from massive systems. It starts with each individual. Live by truth. Build real relationships. Find your mission and pursue it with all your heart. Keep your faith no matter what the world throws at you. If you do this, you will not only transform yourself, but also help change the world. As Jesus said, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Matthew 5:16. If each person lived this way, the darkness of the world would stand no chance.